gives you wings.
It's about time, I forgive it. It's about time. Never gonna give up, never give it up now. Never gonna stop, never gonna stop now. Whoa, you roll with me. Whoa, you roll with me. Whoa, you roll with me. Whoa, you roll with me.
Welcome back, everyone, to Verizon Game Changers Series 2, Day 1. I'm Elizabeth, joined by Van Stilly and Bala. And if you're just joining us, you missed a heck of a map 2 where FlyQuest Red defeated Solstice 13-10. Bala, there was a little bit of a fake comeback there at the end from Solstice, but FlyQuest were able to close it out in the end.
Yeah, I was honestly expecting Solstice to start running away with it when they got this streak of rounds on the defensive half. But I think FlyQuest eventually executed their game plan quite well. I think when it came to that defensive side, they were the attacking side, they were just getting onto the site when they wanted to, especially after this round where Donut got the op-out line, they started taking mid very easily, then everything started to feel easy for them. So I'm quite surprised about that outcome in the first place. But yeah, I think this is more so the pace that we expected from FlyQuest, the level that we expected from FlyQuest. So hoping to see a little bit more of that on Sunset.
I don't know if it was as easy, though, to be honest, because it took round number 23 to finally close it out there for FlyQuest, especially when they had the Seekers and the ult available for the Showstopper to close out the map, just like when they found value out of those 2 ults on Lotus to actually capitalize on a round. But overall, when we looked into this game from the outside in and looking at this composition of Solstice, I asked that question of how they could actually play those one ways, not having an Omen, how they could play the defense. And I kind of liked it. It was around Scary Shark. Scary Shark, she was the one that was setting one-way smokes with the one-way smokes with the Clove smoke, and then putting the wall on A side and using the Clove for the refreshable smokes that Omen does on middle. And with the metal and with the nades, they actually had more util to hold the middle side, and you could still anchor on the other side with the Cypher. So I still think that their approach on a defense looked really good. You're missing a little bit of utility on the attack side, especially with the Omen Flash, which then made it a lot easier. Well, not necessarily easier again, but it made it bearable for FlyQuest to take advantage of that because they weren't suppressed by so much utility, especially when they're playing double duelist on their end. And it just came down to those battles that you needed to win, and FlyQuest finally did so towards the end of this map.
Yeah, I do think in those really crunch time rounds, Solstice was playing fantastic. I mean, the 2v4s, those sorts of rounds were really good to make that a fake comeback, like you said, Liz. I do want to bring attention to the pistol rounds, though. They haven't really been going Solstice's way, and if that was shifted, then suddenly you're seeing Solstice take a more dominating position in that game and making FlyQuest be the one who was scrambling. And at times, it did feel like FlyQuest was scrambling in that game.
Yeah, something to think about for map 3 going to Sunset, but we want to focus on FlyQuest Red a little bit, specifically Starbound. We know them, they've played in EG, they played on LAN, they are such a rock, but today in this map, they just had such a rock star, dare I say stellar performance, get it, haha. Look at that, 315 ACS on Cypher, Vans. That is crazy.
Definitely, I think Starbound, if anything, when Bala was talking about these pressured moments where FlyQuest just seems a little bit less coordinated on where they need to look, how they need to communicate, and how to get the perfect trades. At least Starbound is there to close out a couple of these rounds. They definitely stepped up and not necessarily had these hero moments, but were just like good enough where they were able to just repair some of the mistakes, should I say, dare I say here, of how FlyQuest kind of played like these post-plant situations, sometimes how they're taking over sites. And that was something that was actually critiquing FlyQuest going into this event, which is why I don't think they're like that number 2 right now, because in those chaotic moments, you kind of leave like your body exposed, you're not trading correctly, you're not swinging in the right moments. And when you have opportunities like this where Starbound, especially on the defense as well, is able to hold these rounds back here for FlyQuest, it gives them that chance to win that second map and to see this third map here on Sunset. There was a potential there where you're looking at that second map that we potentially could have gone into overtime with how well, SOL were coming back, Solstice is coming back in the game.
Yes, and we're moving into Sunset, the decider map. As we talked about before, the last time these two teams met in the Open Qualifier semifinals, they played Ascent and Bind, those who were banned right out of the gate. So we're heading to Sunset. Vance, you were talking about during the break, you're expecting to see a Clove come out here from the side of Solstice, where Melia has just been so impressive on that agent.
Yeah, it just feels like that's the go-to right now, of just playing the agents that you're actually comfortable with for Solstice. And props to them and props to the coaching staff. They actually just make it work in the end, because again, if you think back about Split, there's moments where you don't really necessarily need to go for like a macro approach into just winning rounds. You just need players to pop off. And Melia did that perfectly in those rounds where she just needs to throw a middle, swing out, get a kill, get a trip kill, getting a res, getting map position and map control going on there for Solstice. So I think if that's the game plan going into Sunset, when you're playing against like this stall comp with the breach that FlyQuest should be pulling out, I think it's still pretty good. This is going to be very brawly in terms of the post plans for Solstice, and they might pull that off.
I do think one thing that Melia and Solstice did in the first place that is really good with the Clove is they, especially when they have ult, right? They play these late round situations where time is a factor on both sides, right? When you're attacking, trying to get that spike down and forcing that ult to be useful in the post plant when the time is ticking, right? Where you can't really play around with the map control that you have and falling off away from the ult, that sort of thing. They've been getting value, I think, more so in that game than, in that map than the first map. On Lotus, despite the fact that they played well on Lotus. I do think here you saw a lot of the decays really finding value. You saw a lot of the boosts coming through as well, the overheals as well. That I think you're seeing a little bit more from the kit there, and I think getting a little bit more comfortable now as well in this official match too in this capacity is really good for Melia.
I think Clove can be very, very scary when used in the right hands, and I think Melia certainly is one of the best hands to have it in. She is hyper aggressive when it comes to just making plays. I think she's kind of the epitome of fine, I'll do it myself. And she gets it done, and she comes up with these plays that are absolutely insane, Balla.
Yeah, with that said, though, I don't really think that there's much to adapt to. And when you're thinking about, like, how you're breaking the meta or whatever, I don't think that this agent is really doing anything to make FlyQuest have to second guess, other than the fact that, yeah, when the ult is alive, you have to be paying attention to that corpse. But yeah, I mean, standard from FlyQuest here. Not that OG stuff that you were talking about earlier in the pre-show ends with the harbor and whatnot. But much more standard, and with the Sova in this, right? So you're talking about challenging elaborate, and just the Cypher v Cypher battle here as well. I think this is somewhere where Starbound can really have some impact again, just like they did on Split.
And also just Lace playing the Sova with Sonder, so this is a combination that allows you to get some combos in terms of site retakes when you're going to play the defense, where hopefully your scan's going to get a lot of value. But as they start on the attack, this is still just a great comp that's going to counter the situation of what Solstice has and what they're going to try to do here as they're set up on Cypher. But I'm very intrigued about this. We've seen the aggression coming out from Melia overall, and because you're playing against a comp that really just with two agents solely counters elaborate on the Cypher, will you try to be more proactive? You don't have an opportunity to play again too trappy for Solstice to stun to delay. You're just going to have to go in with your combination of just fundamentals of trades.
Yes, I think also something we didn't get to highlight in the just now was how good Scary Shark was again on Split, finding these kills, finding these moments, and Omen having a little bit more selfish utility that she can use to kind of create plays for herself. She can go kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I think we're ready for map 3, aren't we? We have one more map to go. You are? Good to hear. Ball, you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. We have one more map to go to. Will it be Solstice or FlyQuest Red to take it all? You know what? I know just the people to bring us home. It is Athena and Shift.
Hey, I'm not your Uber driver. I'm not bringing you anywhere. We're going into map number 3, and yeah, I think it's a really good shout out to Nora. 11-3 in the first blood, the first death roll so far. I mean, come on, that's unbelievable stuff, Athena. But that's going to have to be here because, like you mentioned, a lot more initiation, a lot more opportunity here for FlyQuest to kind of break down the doors early.
Yeah, for sure. I'm expecting to see some crazy trap plays, some crazy kind of aggression from both of these teams, and I'm hoping that this double initiator will enable FlyQuest to play a lot more aggressive as we have seen them in the past. But now I am so excited to see this double controller Melia and Omen comp. Scary Shark on that Omen, a lot more mobility, a lot more than the Viper that we've seen them play this whole time. So I'm wondering if this is going to enable Scary Shark to just go beast mode.
I'm here for that. If that happens, I think we're all sort of here for that. In fact, if you're watching right now, you actually are here for that. Don't leave. I promise it'll be fun. Here we go. It'll be FlyQuest on the opening offense. Pistols have been really good for FlyQuest so far this series. I think 3 of 4 is what they've been able to tally up until this point. And a quick play up through tiles to claim mid with eyes towards market. Smoke will cover this backside play if they do to try to take an extra step. And yeah, Flash does come through. Paranoia is out. Good bounce back. Solstice says, get out of our spawn. This is ours. We were here for a reason.
And just like that, the quick rotate through that B market and executing into that B site. Elaborate alone on the site, but has done a phenomenal job at holding so far.
Oh, more than just phenomenal. That is perfect. Okay. We're going to, I've told you, we were talking about it a little bit, you and I. It's like, this is going to be a fun map. And then we decided, no, this is going to be a bloodbath. And we're not starting off slow here, friends. Elaborate 3 in the round. Melia rotating over to assist. Clean 5 on the pistol goes to Solstice.
Yeah, not being scared to stay on site and hold it down. Having those crossfires, being able to deny those trades is just something that Elaborate and the rest of Solstice does so well. But again, a bit of a question for Fly is, why are these trades so hard to get for them? Feels like a little lackluster in the past couple maps. But going into this, they're just going to head towards this B main. 4 players from Fly ready to take it.
This is the thing about when you play without a Gecko, you have to take extra steps forward. You can't just allow the wingman to plan. So that's going to be possibly an issue that we have to keep our eye on here for FlyQuest to show some force towards B, but Not really any sweat off the brow here for Solstice. They're still on their 2-1-2 split. Dizzy just check as anyone over towards A main. And that will put a little bit of cool to the defense at A for now. Also a secondary shoulder from Marceline sees no one's home. But if they go again, there it is. And, well, headshot gets tallied, plus a little bit extra damage. Crossfire set up for Sabubu. Again, lots of damage dealt. No eliminations yet, but FlyQuest are kind of stuck here at A main.
Yeah, really good crossfire from Sabubu and from Marceline. They're not afraid. They know that they don't have the full set of util because they used it all in B main at the beginning of the round, and now just absolutely punishing this elbow take.
Yeah, Scary Shark just tapping away with the Guardian. Marceline does eventually get taken down, but yeah, just nowhere for FlyQuest to go here. So a very comfortable follow-up on the anti-eco, only dropping 1. And Solstice already throwing out some things that FlyQuest are going to have to think about and maybe even consider down the road as they'll get into their first full buy here in round number 3.
Solstice doing a good job also and not over-rotating, keeping those players really far up towards that A main, not being too worried, not rotating off, and allowing the Gecko to get that information. Really well played, really good, not losing any guns to the Eco 2. Just really, really well played from Solstice.
Yeah, really good stuff. Okay, and the bonus is pretty, I would say, potent. I mean, you've got Guardian in the mix, Bulldog, 2 times over with the Ghost and a Spectre, so definitely weapons to fight for, and Solstice have gotten 3 control mid. Lots of energy being thrown over to Elaborate, who is trying to hold on, but the burst off the right click not going to work out for anything. Paranoia cutting across the site. Follow-up from Melia, also really not landing on the too much. Scary Shark from the back of the site, again, able to deny that FlyQuest extra step forward and maybe more. A little bit of extra damage on the Thea. Re-wrap back over though for FlyQuest. Trying to get back into market, and they will successfully find some ground to work with, but this is still not out of the woods yet. As Melia, Marceline find a couple of low health pools, and it's a clean feed for a 2v3 retake for Solstice.
Oh my goodness, Fly just fell apart right there. I mean, 1 player stays on site. They don't know that there's 2 players flanking, 2 more players taking that market, trying to fight for some sort of map control. But the whole time, Solstice is just so fast with that flood because, like you mentioned, they had pushed all the way down mid earlier. They knew that there was nothing to contest them there. That was wild, and now forcing Fly onto another eco for this after this game. Oh my god, I can't speak right now. This map is just so it's making me speechless. After that gun round, they just punished them so bad that it also affected me out here while I was casting. And now
it's okay.
These sheriffs, they're gonna try to go for something towards this A, holding for some sort of push. Fly just being really patient, waiting for the one way, but Marceline.
Oh, good reaction time. Able to pull back just as soon as that fault line came through, kind of baiting out the orb. And Athena, I'm going to give you the first real greeting into casting with Shift or Vansili. When you said that you're losing your words and like you're just not able to kind of put it together, made me think the way you said it of, these pretzels are making me thirsty. Which, if you catch the reference, you're a goat, like Scary Shark is for 3. Spike down at mid-map, and this little eco round has largely been absolutely torn apart.
Shut down, straight up. Scary Shark just holding that top mid. No utility needed, just taking the fight. Scary Shark doing Scary Shark things. And now, players just chasing after Lace. Not much they can do in this 1v4 situation. 1v5, sorry. Solstice is just looking so clean, even on their ecos, just being super patient. Feels like they have really good protocols. They even have a solid understanding of how to avoid the breaches.
Oh yeah.
Breach on this map is a little bit linear. You can kind of predict where that stun is going to go. That's a little bit of the problem with the map, unless you do it full reactionary. But, you know, even Marceline showing that they're trying to get that orb towards A main and just satchelating away, satchelating to safety, knowing that they can't get caught out by that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Fly kind of adapt to this, but full B main control here from Fly.
Ooh, possibility where Solstice actually try to contest this. And they're going to get what they bargained for. Oh my goodness, we're not checking for Elaborate. We've seen that a couple of different times where FlyQuest have not fully cleared out corners. There's so much focus. Try to chase down Melia, who's back in towards market. The reveal is decent. It's going to allow an opportunity for a spike plant to come through. But Melia, get this woman a lottery ticket. Right through the dark cover, headshot lands. Numbers are back in favor of the side of Solstice. Showstopper if they need it, but they may, and they do! The double comes through. Melia back to life. And that's good for a bit of a regain there on the Lace. 5-0 start for Solstice.
You were literally talking about a bloodbath. This round was exactly what we were talking about, where every single player and both teams had a solid plan of what they wanted to do. You saw Fly trying to push into that spawn and trying to take more space away from Solstice, but Solstice also had a plan to react. Marceline with a beautiful race ult to shut it down. And again, not clearing Elaborate at the beginning. These small little mistakes are making all these rounds so close.
Sheesh.
But yeah, this is rough. 5-0. I mean, for Fly, definitely attack needed. Their buy is sort of lackluster. They don't really have any solid ults yet. They do have to farm their orbs. But it feels like they just don't have an answer for how fast Solstice is able to retake the site, because it feels like Elaborate is always getting one.
At least, I mean, it's just one of those situations that anytime you throw the weight of the world at Elaborate or Scary Shark, they just bounce it back like it's a pickleball, with the annoying sound that comes with that little plastic piece of ball. But at the same rate, Melia, again, just kind of continuing to showcase the power of Clove. Great series from them overall. And the thing for FlyQuest here, and this is where the issue kind of it really starts to come through with Gecko-less compositions, is that they're just not finding comfortable plants. Or when they do, they're stuck on site. They don't get to set up their post plant deeper like we see a lot of squads recently trying to kind of utilize, I would say, more often than not. And so if you have to get that extra step, especially on B, like through mid pillar, you better have market control as well. You cannot be trying to exit to market when Solstice is set up all around the site like this.
For sure, and Fly seems to be a little bit split on their decision making as well as to where to kind of take the map control. Or they don't have the util to do it. Dodona with a beautiful shot onto Scary Shark, absolutely shutting down the market control, and now speeding up for a B split.
But Elaborate hears all this, and once again, just gets the first, steps into the paranoia for the second. No, surely not for 3. Surely not. And no, Sonder puts that one to rest, trying to get the upgrade over to the rifle. Does get punished for it. Boombot trying to re-clear, but it doesn't quite bounce the way that it was looking towards. We get a 1v1. Marceline up and over, and it's the right click from Lace. Finds the headshot and saves the round for FlyQuest, because wow, that got sloppy.
That was kind of crazy. I mean, speeding up for Fly, making a lot of noise going into it was fine, but Elaborate just had an answer to this by getting 2 of those kills and delaying Sonder from getting the spike for so long. Again, Solstice with these fast rotates that can catch up because the delays are so long. But obviously Lace finishing that round, clutching it for their team. And now 4 ults on the board for Fly here.
That's unreal stuff. I mean, this has been nuts. We've gone through 7 rounds, and it feels like we've gone through them in about 7 minutes. It has been a lightning fast sunset to this point. Moment of pause here through mid, but keep your eye on the minimap. Solstice is lurking, and not just lurking. They are getting frisky up through A main.
Lots of map control for Solstice. They know that there's going to be so much info towards here. Instead of overstepping, they're holding, breaking that, putting a lot of pressure, but the B-split has already come in for Fly.
Well, yeah, oh boy, through the dark cover, nearly lines up everything, but it's the combination of Donut and Sonder that come away 3 for 2. So now it's just down to what can Sabubu and Marceline do. The Thrash is at the ready, but they're going to need to find elimination first, especially considering the Rolling Thunder, Hunter's Fury, and Showstopper. And with Lace finding Marceline, surely Sabubu just lets this one kind of expire, and we'll see FlyQuest get their second.
They didn't even have to use their ults for this round. Lace with a beautiful shot to end the round. But yeah, again, they didn't have to use their ults. They're abusing this mid now, knowing that they're playing a lot for this market, playing in positions that their breach ult might not necessarily be able to stun or concuss. So they're just abusing that. They're trying to get this first pick kind of initiated every single round, playing it slow. They weren't even phased by the push up towards A, and it feels like in that case, did Solstice need to do something a little bit faster? They had so much information, but Fly again, capitalizing really well, and they understand that this is going to happen. But a lot towards A. They have 3 players with that Gecko Flash, the same setup we've seen before. They're countering with an ult.
Oh, Dodo just hitting the skybox on Sunset here. Melia will drop. Oh, teleport. Thea committed to that, oddly enough. So Marceline will find the free exchange. Sabubu backside of the container. Gets one. Aftershock not fully able to flush them out, but eventually the kills come through for FlyQuest, and they come through very quickly. Lace with the last 2 kills, and all of a sudden we're down within a 2-round deficit. 5-3 the tally.
These rounds are just speeding up. I feel like every single round's just getting faster and faster, but both these teams doing such a good job at understanding where they want to go, what their protocol is. But Solstice now, the issue is that when they're fighting in that original kind of setup in the early game, they can't counter that much util. And I feel like they should start being able to step back, or at least having players a little bit closer together to be able to fight, or re-clearing instead of trying to take that aggressive angle. But again, this is Solstice. They've done such a good job at being super aggressive, super proactive. So I feel like they're just trying to get ahead of where that breach util might be. Just that round was just a little bit rough because they used so much of their util and so many of their ults to take it.
And that's the thing for FlyQuest, is that's got to be kind of the component of every successful round, is if you're going to get into site, you're going to use a lot. It's going to be expensive, but if you can commit through it, find the eliminations you need to get good footing deeper into these sites, that could be big. Looks like we do have a timeout here, though, for Solstice. I mean, obviously, we don't have the clock moving, so I assume it's Solstice that's talking about it. And I mean, so in your professional opinion, is this more for Solstice, like, hey, you need to get forward and kind of counteract aggression with aggression of your own, or do you play further back and try to wait out this FlyQuest utility and then hit with a bit of a heavier retake of the utility of your own?
I mean, the thing about having a breach comp is it can get a little bit readable. I mean, you use that stun to get the map control at the beginning of the early game, and the second that that stun is up, you can probably retake. So I think playing a little bit passive and then retaking the control of the map that the other team has tried to get is your best bet against a breach comp. Because you can just avoid the stun, and then pretty much a lot of that comp has gone to waste because they can't full satchel knowing that there could be someone just waiting for them, not being stunned.
All right, well, it's a good evaluation. See if that's what's been talked about here for Solstice, as FlyQuest will set up over through tiles for now. Maybe a chance to, once again, put a little bit more pressure here at mid. It's been kind of their battleground and setup point for a lot of these previous rounds to this point. Spycam is the only thing really watching B main. It's a double-stacked focus at market for the defensive Solstice, with Melia actually taking a long wrap back to also help out here at mid.
The drone catching a whiff of players playing for A main, but Sandra getting the pick onto market again. This market split being the demise of Solstice, but Scary Shark putting a hold to that, getting 2 kills, and now the plant coming in.
Spike planted.
Hunter's Fury at the ready, and Lace is deep. So figure that's going to be part of the post-plant hold here for FlyQuest, who also back up very passively in towards B main. Marceline, Melia, Sabubu trying to get this thing done. If Mars can find an elimination, that would be showstopper, maybe a chance to clear, but Lace is just so far in the picture, and they're going to use the Hunter's Fury early here. Vault line also being held onto, as the clearance will not just be clearance, it's also going to be an elimination. Lace follows up as Sabubu tried to challenge, not going to work. Last one left is Melia. Not a lot of time to finish off this 1v3, so instead, Mel will just say, I'll take the Vandal, and the exit kill maybe gets the first off the reload. Is there a chance to take a battle versus Starbound? Not quite. The exit is good, but the round better for FlyQuest.
Fly just super solid, falling back into what works, which was that mid take into the B split. It just seems like Solstice is trying too hard to hold onto that market. I mean, Scary Shark getting a pick, both picks was really, really solid. But it's that initial peak that Solstice keeps giving towards that tiles. So it's just a little bit rough because they haven't decided if they're fighting for mid or if they're just getting info. And I feel like you can get info in other ways than using your body to kind of re-clear towards that market. But we are going to see going back to that mid step for Fly, just holding a little bit more passive. They're worried of some sort of aggression. 2 scans on that elbow for A though.
And with that, FlyQuest moving rapidly in towards market. Trap wire in the way. Dealt with by Dodonut's teammates as they make their way quickly in towards market. Again, that's a deep position for Elaborate. You also have Marceline, who could possibly try to help out the showstopper if they get there. Melia looking for timing, not going to work out. And Elaborate also dropping means that Melia has to try to evaporate and come back to life. Not going to happen. And how about FlyQuest? Since their timeout, they come out swinging.
For
and
sure.
the only opportunity for a retake would be something here through Boba. And Thea says, nope, get out of here.
I mean, we've seen them do harder retakes, 2v4 last map, so I wouldn't be surprised, but they are going to save those weapons. I think this is looking like a FlyQuest that's a lot more solid with what they want to do, what their game plan is. They know what works. And the thing for Solstice too is that FlyQuest is attacking this B site from 2 different angles at such a fast rate. They're pushing towards market. They're sending one to send some sort of pressure towards spawn, but they're also having 2 players just coming out of market. And the whole time they have Starbound lurking in that B main as well. So it's like punishing B site from 3 different angles that it's almost impossible to hold unless you have a plan to push together for Solstice, but it's not looking too hot.
I mean, 2 rounds left to play with. You do have Showstopper still ready to go for Solstice. Do you try to make more of a forward effort to contest mid instead of trying to receive through market, which hasn't worked out for you? Like, it just feels like Solstice is kind of maybe in certain ways stepped away from the retroactive aggression that we saw on Lotus, and I don't know, maybe we commit something from Sabubu here just to get a read if FlyQuest is actually pushing through mid early.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, changing the setup in general is always a good call, and now having the market door closed, having a lot of players towards that B main, it looks like they're going to focus on keeping B main and just giving up that mid control. And I think that's fair. That's fair play. I mean, if they get that mid, it doesn't really affect them too much if they can keep B main for Solstice. But the walk back into the re-clear towards mid and Fly just looking to hit towards this A, they know something's different.
Yeah, and this will be the first time we really see a test on the backside of this A site with full weapons, at least. The only other time we've seen FlyQuest go this direction was in their anti-eco. So some figuring out to be done. A proactive paranoia comes through for the defense. That will not really stall out the hit, though, from FlyQuest, who cover it with an Omen smoke. Showstopper up and out, and Marceline looked like for a moment they may take 3 with them, but only gets 1. Starbound for the trade reveal onto Sandra, but the damage is just not cut into the Radiant boxes. And FlyQuest, in the meantime, have found the kills they need to stay on top of the site, though they're not even pushing forward. Catches out Elaborate, and Scary Shark will have no further antics on the backside of the site. FlyQuest really starting to cook with gas here, 6 in a row.
This looks completely different than the Fly we saw trying to take B and not being sure which side they want to push. Instead, they're using such good util, such good early round setup in order to get them into that site. And then making sure they have the second wave of util to push into spawn. And not only just spawn, they're doing it together. No players are going the other way. No players are kind of just not contributing or just sitting on site. It's been a group effort. And I feel like that's been what the talk was technically about. Like, you need to play together a lot more. You need to be communicating as a team, and it feels like they've done that now.
Recon Chart does get denied as the productivity for Solstice is pushing right through and deeper in towards B main. There are some obstacles in the way, though. Spy cam trapwire there, and FlyQuest have read this. They know that there's at least a couple of players pushing through B main, so they're going to take middle and then get all the way behind for a chance to possibly flood over towards A. The defense, Paranoia once again, proactively coming through, but it's just not actually stopping FlyQuest at all, and these players at elbow are trapped here, Athena.
Solstice needs to decide what they want to keep, and they're keeping B main. They're choosing to ignore that elbow, but Elaborate holding it down, getting that 1 pick, and trying to get a trade. Lace actually getting 1. The spike is still down, allowing all of Solstice to be rotated already into this site shift.
Thing is, Neural Theft comes out here for the side of FlyQuest. They get a read every single time. The ping's identifying that the Solstice defense is already here on site. Still plenty to work with. Thrash going to get earned here for Sabubu, as the orb looked like did get collected. Yeah, sure did. So that could be used to try to solo hold off this A site, or be used for retake, which it looks like they're going to prefer to use it there. Here we go. Thrash out. Spike not being committed to for the plant yet. Donut trying to catch the defense off on the rotation in. Not going to work out. Thea has to stick for this plant. Works out. Starbound able to assist. 2v2. Sabubu on the corner. Not going to find anything. And FlyQuest takes 7 in a row for a 7-5 half as we swap the sides. Okay, we've got ourselves a map.
Just feels like FlyQuest have really stripped it down to their fundamentals of doing things together and making sure that they're not alone in their executes. you know, even on that last side where they walked up and contacted through that A-link to try to punish any of the rotators while the bomb is being planted. Just such a good way of planting for FlyQuest. They're playing it so much better. Now, this is a lot of momentum shift. Like, I talk a lot about momentum because it is so important, especially in Valorant. And I feel like for Solstice to come back into this, they need to win this pistol.
I like that call. I mean, we talk about it a lot as commentators. Like, there's nothing tangential you can point to. Be like, momentum this, momentum that. And it was just like, maybe we're just making stuff up. But this definitely plays on the mind for sure, especially considering the way that FlyQuest won those 7 rounds in a row. So we'll see what Soul... As he doesn't quite get into sight. Paranoia does cut across market. Response coming through from the stepping up in towards the site, but denied. Frenzy in hand by Melia. Spike also getting planted thanks to the power of the Gecko. And Lace just in the shooting range here. Backside of sight. Good for a couple, but scary freaking Shark. Are you kidding? Finally a shutdown from Starbound. 1v1 with Elaborate. And the cross check for Elaborate does not land. At least not fully. Starbound gets down to 51 points worth of health. Trying to stick for it. Shot lands, but not enough damage tallied. And Solstice does what you asked. They take the pistol, and now all of a sudden it's just a 1-round game.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. Scary Shark just dancing in the middle of the site, getting 3 for herself. I mean, Fly, they had a plan. They were trying to fast flood, but it just felt a little bit disconnected. Especially because you have so much of this util to be retaking with. Granted, it's pistol round, you still have a dart, you still have some sort of breach util. It feels like we're just rushing into it a little bit too quick. But Solstice, I mean, Scary Shark, phenomenal hold.
Okay. Here we go. Opportunity to turn this into a tie game here for Solstice. Lots of firepower in hand. The judge could get interesting to be sure, but Lace, solo Sheriff. Holding the backside of the A site, which for the moment Solstice are thinking about, but have not committed much in terms of actually making the play towards it. Mosh doesn't get in on the elbow. So, once again, a little bit of Gecko utility, not quite getting to where it's intended to go.
Hey, Sabubu, I've been there. Don't worry. It'd be like that sometimes. But Fly actually pushed towards B main at the beginning of the round, got a full line of info, and decided to stack the other site, which is so unfortunate for them because it looks like Solstice is actually heading towards B. Such a good read of Solstice. You can see they're aware of any of the aggressions towards mid and towards B, being safe and clearing it out and contacting. And now once they're ready to execute, just full sending it.
Yep. No one home.
No one
buddy.
home.
Able to get himself another plant. So aggressive, that little guy. And this is going to be tough in terms of a retake. If you do have the Owl drone, you've got a full utility belt worth of information seeking out of him. But at the same rate, you also have a full utility kit worth of breach utility. So there's an opportunity here to try to break down this site for an opportunity to get into sight and get this retake going. Marceline stunned up, but the judge just doesn't care. First connection is good. FlyQuest now a bit stuck in the backside of sight, and they may just wait for the spike to explode.
Yeah, holding for Exus is probably the best bet they have. They don't want to spend too much on the util and waste their economy for the next round, chasing after whoever it is, but they're just gonna fall to that spike, and now 7-7. I mean, this is rough. The attack side looking so good from Solstice. We've talked about their aggression. Feels like they're really proving it here. I mean, Melia even 13-9 on the Clove has just been performing consistently in every single one of these maps. And now, with this weird buy, I wonder if they're going to try to do something fast with that judge or just kind of play it out and see how Fly react.
Yeah, and the other side of things, kind of, you know, reversing the conversation we had about FlyQuest and the possible issues they would have on offense, trying to get to that deeper level of the site and their attack. Now, all of a sudden, you have to get the deeper level of the defensive side to stop this wingman from getting free plants off. So, you know, the problems extend to both sides of the spike. Dizzy out, Boombot also clearing some space. Marceline has gotten pretty far forward. And, ooh, I was going to say a moment where the judge could get hidden a little bit longer, but Sabubu with the plant. Marceline does take it down. Also isolated 1v1 here through mid, which goes the way of Solstice, but the hit from FlyQuest. And the retake is starting to come through. Scary Shark again providing exactly when it's needed, but a 1v2 situation. Elaborate on their fastest horse they can find, and whoa, Blaze actually steps off of it, and they almost line up, but Sonder saves it with 4 in the round and gets Solstice pushed back at an 8-7 tally for FlyQuest Red.
Yeah, that was kind of scary, but also super expensive for Fly. I feel like they're doing a good job at falling off of the site. When you see a team playing a Breach comp and a Sova comp, you know that they definitely have some sort of set retakes in mind to play, but I feel like the execution on them are just not necessarily going wrong, but Solstice is kind of putting a wrench in their plans and always doing something kind of unexpected to stop them and delay them from retaking with the util that they're throwing out. And now we're going to see Solstice result to going to more mid. Marceline actually just wide swinging mid. Really good eco swing, trying to get that pick. Not finding anyone, but getting a lot of space for themselves.
And I think the mid position is a critical one in this round for Solstice due to the fact that the Rolling Thunder is available here for Sonder, so it kind of forces it to have to be used on an actual full-on retake from the backside of spawn, which is the exact route that Sonder's currently taking. But the thing is, Solstice have not committed to this B hit yet. That little from the shadows play from Scary Shark sees no one on the backside of the B pillar, so things will reset. Still 60 seconds of the clock, plenty of time to work with.
Fly retaking mid here is going to be really, really big. They're going to be able to understand that these players are probably not going to be outside of B main anymore. This should be a lot of information, but a little too late because Solstice is already zooming towards that A site, but Breach and Sova are ready for this retake.
Thrash gets called Paranoia just to get Thea back, and while all that's going on, interaction does happen. Starbound able to get trade over towards the backside of the site. Lace from inside, only able to find one. Rolling Thunder at the ready. Both arms up for Sonder, just waiting for the chance to call for this. Thea stuck on site, trying to play their life best possible. The Mosh doesn't get in the corner again. Not great news. And now 20 seconds remain. Thrash is out. Thea denies it. Help is on the way in. Sonder goes 1 for 1. 12 seconds on the clock. Starbound now inside the site, and oh my! Starbound provides. FlyQuest hold again. 9-7 the tally.
I mean, this round is just trade for trade for trade. That was crazy. And again, that mosh pit, if it hit, it would have been so detrimental for Fly. Solstice would have had such a good round coming into it. They had a solid understanding, but I think the counterplay from Fly to push down mid and hear that rotation was just a little bit too fast because Solstice could not get out onto site in time. The delay was insane. The hold was pretty good. And now they're going to opt for another one of these B main hits.
And it's quick. Starbound has been revealed. Shields with the dart, backs up in towards Market. Marceline. Similar reveal comes through, and the cyber cages allow Starbound to get at least into a contestable spot. Up and over. Marceline tries for it, but not to happen. Lace also backside of the site, takes down the spike carrier, and Solstice have been held at the front gates of B.
Three v5 here. They have these weapons they're trying to hold on to, but Solstice, they're so lit right now. None of these players have full health or full shields, just holding, hoping that someone makes a mistake from Fly's end because that spike is just so far out of reach. But Thea is right behind.
Yeah, good timing on this, just holding back from behind the trap wire. Paranoia, because why not? And the rest of Solstice are completely bottled up here at B main. Scary Shark just trying to create an exit, hunt out a kill, but this round seems pretty done and dusted. 7-9 going to be likely a 7-10 unless Melia can just go absolutely Herculean. But likely not going to get as much of a chance as they're just trying to save these weapons.
Yeah, I would love for Solstice to throw some kind of fake or put some kind of pressure to bait out all this util that Fly has. To just deny all this util that they have, because it's impossible to play some sort of post plant if you don't have a lot of space push, you don't have a lot of aggression, or you don't have numbers. And I feel like Solstice is just kind of falling now to this trap of too much util for them to be able to counter, to be able to get into site properly. And so I just need to see them bait out this breach util and bait out some of these traps that Fly is kind of setting up.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does feel like, you know, make the decision difficult here for FlyQuest. So what do you want to use, when do you want to use it, and how much in total do you want to use? Because every time you throw something out, like a flashpoint, like a paranoia, that's super expensive in terms of the defense being able to stay pretty stalwart. But you're right. It does feel like Solstice are just trying to play with some tempo and try to keep the identity up of what they had in map number 1. And it has not worked out all that great for them, at least not as of yet, as we go into a limited buy here for Solstice around 18.
A lot of mid pressure from Solstice. They do have these close range guns, so trying to get the close range fights, poking and prodding towards that top mid could do them some good, but Lace is just standing here really patiently waiting. And actually 3 players are regrouping towards this top mid as well for Fly. They're ready for some sort of push with that breach util primed, but no plan yet for Soul, just trying to get some sort of pick on their hands.
And now that, yep, I was going to say, you've got the market cross also being watched. Players are getting caught at mid. Not what you want to see for Solstice trying to pull off, which may not be qualified as a thrifty, but we'll call it what it is. It's a limited buy. Starbound with another little shoulder. Elaborate has been seen. Though they're not just kind of doing the same thing. Just play for intel, play for context. Scary Shark has been witnessed over through mid-map. Sabubu just trying to get in towards market, but may not be much of a chance for it. Meanwhile, though, Scary Shark's not done. Are you kidding me? The walk up mid to find both players watching the same angle? That can't happen.
Oh no. It looks like they're just gonna head into a B split here off of Scary Shark's kills, but Starbound is just ready, waiting, and holds.
Whoa, Starbound! I mean, that was all about the double swing. Deals with it perfectly. The timing was not necessarily ideal. Wingman will get the plant off. Still a lifeline here for Solstice. Thea down for the 1v2. Thrash on the way in. And it will be dealt with before it can detain. But now 12 shots and Melia on the cross will make sure Thea can do nothing with him. 10-8. Big round for Solstice tally though.
They are so back momentum-wise. They're so back. Scary Shark walking on mid and just getting those 2 kills is actually insane because those were both the initiators as well that the team needs for their retake or to hold it down on either site. But, I mean, Starbound, there's only so much that they could do. They needed to get 3 kills in order to win the round for their team, but it just wasn't enough. Now, going into this round, we have the Clove ult, we have the Cypher ult. We do have the Sova ult as well to deny the plant from the Wingman or from any of these executes. Dodonat early round trying to walk down mid, getting a lot of space. Almost punishing Sabubu, but Scary Shark with that first frag and the second on Melia is gonna get these numbers in favor of Solstice.
That's like a series of events that precedes unfortunate results. I mean, legitimately, the first blood is one thing, but missing out on that mid kill could be devastating towards FlyQuest's efforts defensively. Now they're trying something crazy. Sandra just walking behind through tiles. That's going to kind of keep Solstice trapped on site. Starbound has been unbelievable by themselves. Hunter's Fury out, but no, not this time. The Ruse will fade, and the Ruse is up. So now it's just down to Lace trying to connect with the Hunter's Fury. Not going to work out. Sandra also traded. Spike gonna get planted, and it's gonna be Lace for a 1v3. No opportunity to get that off the ground. Solstice back to within 1.
And we talked about this earlier about Solstice putting pressure in 2 places at once, and that was actually a really good round, regardless of how sloppy it seemed, because they got a pick in mid and they got a pick in A. Both teams weren't, or sorry, Fly wasn't sure where exactly they should be focusing, so instead they just retook mid. And while they did that, Solstice was able to get a free site on A. They planned it really well. Even though they lost their hold behind them, they lost their Sentinel, Elaborate getting picked off, they still decided to push together towards that spawn to regain the number advantage. And that's the kind of micro decisions that Solstice makes really, really well that I feel like the past 2 rounds just hasn't been as solid. But now that they kind of understand of this process of putting pressure on either side of the map, looks like they're going to have a better understanding now.
And it's so quick to be learned and then immediately put into action. And it comes through, like we talked about, at a very critical point. Just Sheriff's out now for FlyQuest. And it's going to be just about placing smokes up through mid, try to break down the doors at market, and see if there's any way to kind of create an entryway. That little bit of pressure does stretch the defense out of touch for FlyQuest. But yeah, Donut is watching on this cross corner through A main, and One shot does come through. Sonder thinking about maybe playing off the double stack box as well for something similar. Flashes out. Dodo not good for the opener. Gets a second as well. Now the showstopper earned, but Sabubu takes it down before it can be pulled on the trigger. And now Lace maybe trying to step through the dark cover. The Mosh holding her back. Plus the kills coming through. Thea, last one left, 1v3. From high to low goes Sabubu and Scary Shark, and we're tied at 10.
These games could not get any closer. I mean, last game I thought it was super close, but this Sunset is even closer. One off of that Rolling Thunder for Sonder, able to get that breach shell and able to kind of play a little bit more retakey on one of these sites. But again, what seems to be the answer for both these teams, they're both executing the solutions to each of their problems.
Absolutely.
The problem is it's always one team is just a step ahead, and it feels like Solstice now, the past couple rounds, has been a step ahead. Granted, last round was an eco, they still managed to keep it together and walk together and kind of stay grouped. And now back to this mid prod, putting presence towards that B main with that Cypher, and Omen holding really deep into A main. They know that they're kind of getting a lot of that map control for free and the information.
I mean, legitimately, this whole map has just been who can go on the longest spree of consecutive rounds. 5 to start for Solstice. What was it, 10 in a row? Or not, pardon me, not 10 in a row, but a number in a row for the side of FlyQuest. Back to Solstice, back to FlyQuest, back to Solstice. Does the pattern continue or does things change here? Showstopper out for Marceline, able to find a play through market. Sabubu also catches Stardog, keeping the site. Thea desperately trying to hold on, and Melia will come back to life, force out the teleport deeper, and with that, the post plan has been established, not just on the site. It's still trying to contest deeper. The Bruise is back out once more, and it's just part of it. It's the metal that comes through, and that's a lot of decay that's in the play now for Melia. Decent response from Sonder, but nothing more. Scary Shark punishing on the damage dealt, and Solstice back in the lead up 11 to 10.
Not much Fly could do. They were trying to set up for some sort of retake plan using all their util to kind of set it up, but Solstice doing such a good job again at putting a wrench into their plans, pushing towards that spawn, denying a lot of the pushing, denying the use of the util. It's just so hard for Fly to get anything. And what can you do against Scary Shark when they're just swinging into spawn and getting three almost every single round that they've clutched in? It's just such a hard spot to get out of for Fly. But Solstice, I mean, they're doing phenomenal. And actually, they have an operator online on Elaborate too.
I like this. Speaking of things that you just don't expect, I'll take Elaborate on an operator for 500, Alex. I mean, legitimately, how would you possibly game plan for this if you're FlyQuest? And it comes out so late in the map. I mean, I guess the only other maybe benefactor here is the fact that you've got FlyQuest on an eco essentially here. So they're going to get a read probably that an operator's in play when they try to set up for a forced maybe overtime, pending they don't deal with it here and get this thing back to tied terms. But this comes out so late that it's just, how would you possibly expect that this is a play that happens in round 20 frickin' 2?
Yeah, it is rough. I mean, they're not going to be using that much util as well to be taking anything because, like you said, they are on a thrifty. It's just going to be rough for Fly. It's really rough. Baited. This is one of the hardest rounds. Oh, we didn't get baited. Oh,
damn it, Elaborate!
Oh, we got baited again. Dang.
That's rude, honestly.
No, I know. That's not. You know what? Boycotting for the rest of the game.
no more casting for the rest of the game.
No more casting because of you, Elaborate. But yeah, a lot of B main pressure. They're just contacting, playing it slow again. Solstice kind of falling back into their same energies for how they want to play against ecos, and it looks like they're just going to full commit with the Gekko here, Chip.
Oh, but how about the paranoia? Timing is decent. Unfortunately, it does not land on the Melia or Elaborate. So they will find the first 3 kills through market side. Sonder has been seen up top. No worries there. Quick, flawless round for Solstice. And now it's just trying to get to OT if you're FlyQuest. Otherwise, we will start off Game Changers Series 2 with a Goliath upset.
I mean, Solstice are looking so good coming into this. This is crazy. But now, Fly, they're going to have some sort of plan. either some sort of proactive plan or being able to properly set up their util on their retakes, because right now they're just not able to do either.
Yeah.
We have the breach in the race towards A trying to hold that A lead, but a lot of mid pressure coming in from Solstice.
Well, once more, opening battle doesn't really amount to too much. Pressure on for FlyQuest. Setup has not really changed all that much, but the real difference maker here is the clean control that Solstice is going to have through mid. Of course, the Dizzy will be picked up once again. Smoke will be placed deep over towards the connector. Aldrone will see really just the one, which they already know. That guy goes here anyway, so you really don't see too much, but here comes the quick call from FlyQuest saying, let's ISO, let's challenge, and it works out beautifully, completely catches Solstice off guard. One decent trade back from Mars, but largely speaking, FlyQuest have regained mid control. Moment of panic, but the neural theft out will give FlyQuest the info they need. And Marshall will only be able to take a couple with her, as we'll go 12-11. FlyQuest still alive.
Proactive is exactly what FlyQuest did. They heard us. They went towards that mid. They actually set up for a really good play. It was kind of wild how they just jumped out of the top mid smoke, but it ended up working out for them because they had a lot of util behind that. Solstice, they were kind of prepared for that, but they were not prepared for the flank from Dodonut at the end as well. That was a really well played from Fly. But Solstice, if they want to get this round in the bag, they have to be able to do something. And so far, taking B has been kind of their bread and butter, pushing towards that spawn, making sure that Market doesn't come out and flood right away. And now the contact up to B is happening.
Well, Lace is going to make an early rotation to the deep side at back B. Smoke down. Cyber cage out. Cage shells will deal with the trap wire. Spy Cam is able to see a little bit. Doesn't fully get a tag though. And will find first blood. Stardock pushing forward, trying to force the issue, only catching one. And now you're in desperate straits. If you're FlyQuest, 2v4 situation. Decent though for the breach to be able to connect. Melia trying to force up front, but Sonder deals with it. Now 2v3. But the problem is this is a Bermuda Triangle setup for Solstice. Player deep in the back of site, player deep at B main, and a re-wrap over through mid. Nice shots of Marcy. Dealt with by Dodonut. Good paint shells comes through. Spam out though, not gonna be able to stick it as Dodo, and Sabubu will find the final kill. And talk about your good old-fashioned upset. A heck of a start as Solstice surprise FlyQuest in 3 incredibly tight maps.
I mean, Solstice, they have really proved themselves of why they are here, because they played phenomenally. Everything that they did it together as a team. They were so solid with their decision making, and we cannot forget about the frags. I mean, the kills from this team, like the firepower, the amount of work going into it. They were just shutting down 1v1s time and time again. Scary Shark, Melia, like every single player on this team had their moment to shine.
Great stuff through and through, and wow, we're kicking off the series of Game Changers like that. It's going to be nuts. We'll step off to a break. The desk will break it down, and of course have our post-match interview presented by Verizon when we come back after this.
Every time I needed a new phone, I had to switch carriers.
I told him, at Verizon, everyone can get the best deals. Like that iPhone 15 on them.
Switching all the time, it wasn't easy.
35.
You're gonna be here forever.
And
Here's your wireless contract.
do I need a lawyer for this? Those were hard days.
Representative, switch!
Now that I got a huge storage and battery upgrade, I'm officially done switching.
New and existing customers get iPhone 15 on us when they trade in any iPhone, any condition, guaranteed.
I really wish you told me sooner.
I did.
Red Bull gives you wings.